Welcome to the strength and power unit of the adult program. We're in the final phase now, so things slightly change, and the emphasis here is on supporting your return back to your sport. You've got a lot of games coming, a lot of training, so this is in support of everything that's happening on the field. So the exercises are now 5, the repetitions are low, it's like a 4 to 6 range. So you should be able to do this in around 30 minutes maximum of your training. And obviously, if your training becomes quite intense and you feel like I'm already a little bit tired or a bit fatigued, you can reduce the volume here by just doing 2 sets. Very important that you do a little bit as opposed to doing nothing. Little and often is really important as you return back to your games and training. So let's talk about our exercise we have here. As I said, there's 5. The first one is kind of like our heavy strength exercise, if you like, and we're going to do a reverse lunge. So you've done this with me before, but now this is loaded. And the reason why I like a reverse lunge as opposed to another lunge is there isn't forward momentum that can change the mechanics of the movement, and you can load it up then as a result a little bit easier. So on setup, always important for setup for any exercise. So stand wider than hip width apart. Now it's important here that when you step back, you maintain that width. Okay, so some people stand back very narrow, and then it becomes a more stability-driven exercise, which means you can't load it up as much. So make sure you have the support when you step back, right? And then you drop the back knee towards the floor. Okay, so you do it in a controlled motion as much as you can. Try not to let gravity affect too much in this, so make sure it's more musculature in its nature by controlling the movement down and then driving up fast. If there is a tempo here, it's kind of slow and controlled back, up fast. What that will do internally is control the motion coming down, and then when you have all that wound up, that muscle wound up, you generate force quickly through the structures. 4 repetitions on each side. Driving back up, good. 4 repetitions on each side, perfect. Now, again, just to people that don't have weight at home, if that is a scenario where you don't have weight or you can't access a gym, just do the tempo. Obviously, we'd like you to load a little bit now because I think you've been through a good few weeks of a reasonably good load, so you should be in a safe place to load this. But here's an example of how you might load it without weight, controlling the movement down and still doing the same thing, coming up fast out of it. Ideally, we have some weight, but if you can have access to weight, you can certainly use something at home in the kitchen that's a little bit of weight. Feel free to use that because it doesn't really matter internally as long as there is a bit of a stimulus here. Okay, so you have that exercise. Next one we'll go on to is a step up. Slight change on the step up here, but we're actually encouraging now the box to be a little bit higher than, so if you just put your foot up here, you're getting that kind of negative angle, if you like now. So you're getting more than, or you're getting above the hip, if you like, of the knee. The knee is relatively above the hip on this. And there's a reason here, I don't want you to load this up. I want good movement, but if emphasis on the lowering down phase. So we'll take a step up. Now, what's important here is that, and you can see it's kind of done in a slow, controlled manner, that is what she's trying to do there, is shift her weight onto her left foot and then controls it down. The key element here is on the first one, you shift your weight onto the left foot because the mistake here is pushing off the right foot that's on the floor. And then as you're coming down, you slow, control as much as you can. Again, getting that muscular action that we spoke about in the first exercise in here as well. 6 repetitions now, so a little bit higher than the 4, but now less body weight, bigger ranges than you're used to. Again, it's important that the mechanics here are right and the movement is executed in the right way. So you put weight onto that lead foot, shifting onto the right or left, driving up, pushing down and heel on the floor, and then really important that we control the weight down. Quite difficult exercise to do on the controlling the weight down. You maybe struggle at the start of it, but after a bit of practice, you'll get really good at this exercise, and a good one for preventive injuries, but also developing some strength in that range. Okay, then we go on to, so again, we're going to try and do this with weight. We're going to accommodate really people who have a bit of weight in maybe in the gym or at home. We're using a barbell here. We'll show you some options. I'll talk about some options if you don't have a barbell. But the first one here is, and it's important that we make sure we pick it up properly. So we're going to sit down here, weight on the floor to start with. You're going to come up to the bar. Just make sure your hand grip is even on the bar, so you don't go too biased on one side or the other side. So a good position here. Just picking up off the floor. So the exercise starts from the top. So just when you do pick it up, it's important now there's weight on it. You don't start picking up with a rounded back to rounded spine and start picking up through here. That make sure you're in a good position. Okay, from here, you split stand. So one foot is going to be in front of the other. So we're going to load up one leg more than the other. The back foot, some people, depending on the flexion of the ankle, like to have a toe off. I like the toe off. Some people like the foot on the floor. I'm not too bothered about this in this instance. Whatever feels the most comfortable. Make sure you're nice and wide, like the lunge. Okay, so you're not too narrow, and then you're doing an RDL. So we've done RDLs before. Sliding the bar close to the body, so you're keeping that momentum so the bar is close to the body as it's going down, it's not out in front. That's really important that the bar remains close to the body as you're getting down through the movement. And the back is a nice straight position, so if you feel yourself rounding, you want to correct that position all the way up, all the way down. The bar is close to the shin, close to the knee, down through the shin. Get to around mid-shin and then come all the way back up, or whatever range you feel you have in you. And then change the other side. Repetitions here are 5 in each leg. We're really strengthening up the posterior chain. Obviously they're hamstring and glute dominant, this exercise. And having a soft knee and the front knee is also important, so you're not completely locked out. So that front knee, if we just go side on, that front knee isn't fully locked up. It's a slight bend on the knee, and you'll get more tension up the body as well as the distally, so towards the knee as well. And then lower the bar safely. It's really important now when you start discussing with load that you're safe with the movement, because you don't really want to get injuries. You know, injuries are quite low in terms of the weight room. It's important that you are always safe, because you can get, when the injuries do happen, they can be quite nasty. Okay, perfect. Good example of picking up the bar. This is good ethics in the weight room. So I'm clearing out the space. Now, what I want you to do is get maybe the step up that you used before. I'll actually bring it down here because we're using the bar. Now, so maybe the box that you use for the step up will be ideal here. So it's an incline press up is the first one, and you're going to combine that with a row up, right? So a bar around this height, depending on how good you are at it. We'll talk about that in a second. But for the incline press up, but you put your hands in the box. When we saw incline press up, it means that you're higher than the ground, if you like, on your hand position. So again, it's the same principle as before as the press up. You lower yourself slowly all the way to chest and then push yourself back up. Again here, the tempo is very similar, so slow and control down and fast up. So we really want to get that fast component in here. So control down, fast up. Don't let yourself drop just through gravity. Make sure there's some muscular contraction here. Controlling it down, pushing off as fast as you can. Once you've done 10 reps of that, you're on to 10 reps of this. Obviously this is an upper body program. This is an upper body exercise, so we're going slightly higher on the reps than the lower body. Just to make sure we have maintained some level of strength. Now the grip here position, she's gone from this grip. You can do whichever one you want, but I would recommend this one to begin with if you haven't done this exercise before. And then nice straight line from shoulder, hip and ankle. Nice straight line, not too sagged at the hips or not too rounded. And then pull yourself up. Again, aim for 10 reps here. If you do 6, you do 6. You have to take a break, then add 4 more onto it. And you combine it, so you go there onto this one. And once you're doing 2, then you start your rest. The rest and the sets and everything will be put up on a PDF on the website as well. That's that exercise, or our 2 exercises together. And then we're on to our final one, the plyo, the kind of more explosive movement here. And it's very important that we do this properly and correctly and safely as well. So here, we're just trying to demonstrate that maybe not everyone has hurdles at home or even in the gym. So you can use anything really. Here we're going to use a kettlebell just for demonstrating that it doesn't have to be necessarily a fancy hurdle or anything like that. It's just something to jump over. If you don't have anything, you can just imagine it, because the same thing applies. You're going to jump over. So the first thing is we're going to jump over, and what that's doing is generating some vertical force. You're going to get over it. Once you land, there's 3 options. Forward jump, and then you come back again, and it's left and right jump. So we kind of do it at real time now. So you jump over, so we're going to do a lateral jump now. So jump over again, yeah, and then jump to your left or right. Good. Now, the important point here, we're just for demonstrations, we're slowing it down a little bit. We want it to be fast. So once you hit that floor there, you're going to jump forward as quick as you can, or left or right as quick as you can also. So good position here, good mechanics, over and across. Now, what we're doing here basically is initially getting into a good position that you may find yourself in to be generating force. Swinging your hands down lowers the lower limbs as well. So swinging hands down and getting into those good jump mechanics as you come over. I would like to see, and some mistakes that I see here is when I jump over, I don't fully extend my hips. I kind of jump over it like this. I haven't fully extended my hips. Now we want extension of the hips because that drives our glutes, and our glutes are a powerful exercise, and we want them in as much as we can. And then you jump over. On the forward jumps, that's obviously generating vertical force into horizontal. On the lateral jumps, that is biasing one leg, because I'm going to have to push off my right to go left. I'm going to have to push off my left more than my right to go the opposite way. So we're kind of loading up. It's a double exercise, we're actually loading one leg more than the other. So it's kind of hidden unilateral work here. Okay, but it's kind of done in a safe manner. Same again, we'll just go through it now. So we do one broad jump, which is over and forward, and one lateral left and right. Yep, over and forward, good. And what you want to do here is generate as much height on the first jump and as much distance on the second jump. Okay, but the same thing applies here now. Much height in the first jump and as much height, distance left and right on the other jump. Perfect. We'll do one more on the other side just to finish it off. So we're over and then we're going right. Good. And what I like here about it is a completely lateral shift. So it isn't jumping over and jumping out at a 45-degree. It's actually working different planes. We talked about this before, lateral plane, rotation plane. So it's going forward, but then also jumping as far as we can to our left. And also make sure we are jumping as far across, not up. We don't want to lose too much momentum going up. And the mechanics, that subtle change in mechanics is so important. Like we talked about the stepping up on, shifting onto that side. Those little changes throughout the program make a huge difference on what's happening internally, and in turn then that'll transfer more onto the pitch. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. We're on to our second to last block. So hope you enjoy it, and I will see you again soon.